And we are on air. Hi guys, my name's Brianna, and today we're going to be having a chat about 13 Reasons Why Season 2. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so before I talk about the actual show, like the season, I first want to discuss the stigma surrounding the show. So a lot of people don't like 13 Reasons Why for a multitude of reasons, and right now I want to address some of them. So I have some of the counter arguments to 13 Reasons Why here, and I'm going to read them out and explain why I disagree. Okay, so the first ones I have is that it glorifies suicide or it glorifies depression, which I completely disagree. I think it forces people to face mental illness. It makes people have to look at the fact that mental health is important and relevant, and I don't understand when people say it glorifies it, because the show shows how gruesome it can be, and I don't think anybody wants that. Another one is a lot of people say it makes suicide an option, but at least for me, I think it did the opposite. So the way they show Hannah's suicide, they show her actually slitting her wrists. And I'll admit, for some people, that could be triggering. However, it makes suicide look disgusting, gross, painful, morbid. It paints it in such a horrific lighting. It makes everybody see how the mental pain is, it shows the physicality of it. And it makes, first of all, people who don't suffer from mental illness understand. Second of all, it makes people who do suffer from mental illness show that when things get physical, when they try to kill themselves, it is the worst image possible for anyone to see. And it kind of makes you stop and think, do I want to put someone who's going to find my body through that? Because watching that was hard for me. So how am I going to make someone see that in person? So I think it does the opposite of glorify suicide. It makes you not want suicide anymore. It makes you see the reality of the situation. Another thing I heard someone say was that Hannah Baker wasn't depressed. She was a victim with a princess complex who never once looked for help. Which, first of all, I do agree she is a victim, and she did twist her words a lot, which I will get into later on. But I don't think she had a princess complex. I think she did indeed have a mental illness, because there was signs shown throughout the show of her living that showed actual signs of mental illness, not just suffering from specific events. And I think that with a combination of the mental illness and these events happening, her mind was so twisted that, yes, she was twisting things that were happening in real life, but she didn't even realize she was doing it, and she genuinely believed everything she was saying. It wasn't her being like, oh my gosh, no one loves me. It was her genuinely feeling like her life was horrible, and it was a mess. And she did reach out for help. She went to the school counselor, and Mr. Porter, didn't do anything. So that's not true either. Okay, this one says it romanticizes revenge and makes people think that guilting your enemies is the best revenge. And I disagree with that, because okay, so my camera ran out of storage while I was filming, and I don't know at what point it stopped recording. So I'm just gonna pick one of these bullets I was just recently speaking about and hope that that's where my camera left off. So let's see. Okay, it romanticizes revenge and makes people think that guilting your enemies is the best revenge. Okay, the reason I disagree with that is because I think the show shows that revenge isn't the answer. It shows how complicated and messy it got afterwards, how Hannah didn't get justice despite everything that happened to her and that she did, because the way she did it. Just revenge was not the answer. Those tapes weren't the answer for her. It just ruined a lot of people's lives and did nothing for her story, for her life, for her family, for justice for what she did. It just hurt the people she cared about. So I think it shows that clearly revenge does not work. This one I thought was interesting. It says it misrepresents people with mental illnesses. I think that's an unfair statement to make because it could represent some people. Everybody has a different story, a different life, a different way that they struggle. And someone with mental illness could have the same exact storyline as Hannah. And it might not represent every single person with a mental illness, but it does represent some people with mental illnesses. It makes depression look like an overreaction to any mild convenience. I think it's meant to say inconvenience. But I disagree with that because Hannah did truly struggle. Like, you saw throughout the warning signs of the flashbacks of her speaking and how sad she seemed. Like she wasn't just, and it wasn't even mild inconveniences in the other ways. She got raped, like, that's a big deal. It's not a mild inconvenience. And yeah, maybe she had depression, but it wasn't an overreaction. It was a mental illness. I don't know. This says it shows self-harm as a healthy alternative to suicide. I don't think that's true either. Like, yeah, Skye was hurting herself, but the show was actively showing how Clay was trying to make her stop because that's not an option. So I think that once again it does the opposite of that. Okay, and this one is someone said, if you're so affected, you shouldn't have watched 13 Reasons Why, and that's in quotes. And then they said, honey, the whole show is supposedly created to promote the importance of mental health, but then people with mental illnesses can't bear to watch it due to getting triggered. Then what the bleep is the show even doing right? And my response to that is, the show is not meant for people with mental illnesses. It's meant to help people who don't have mental illnesses understand and to help raise awareness for people who do have mental illnesses. If you're struggling in a problem, you don't want to watch something that shows that because then you're going to get upset about your own life. But there still needs to be representation for that thing so that other people can understand you and help you without you having to open up to them because it hurts and it's scary. Yeah, you might want to open up to a professional, but if your mom or dad doesn't understand what you're going through, maybe watching a show like this that shows how difficult it is to go through what you're going through can help them understand without you having to bear the pain of telling them. And sometimes it's even hard to express even if you do want to tell them. So I don't think it's meant to promote awareness for mental illnesses, but it's not meant for people with mental illnesses. If you have a mental illness and you choose to watch the show, you should either prepare yourself to be triggered to deal with the emotions the show brings, or watch it with an adult, or just don't watch it at all. Because, yes, it's a great show. It has a lot of important things in it, things that need to be discussed in our society that aren't discussed. But it is a triggering show. It is. But it has to be in order to get across the point they want to get across. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think. If you don't like 13 Reasons Why, and I did not mention your point of view, please comment it down below, because I'd like to know all the different sides and opinions to help me understand why other people don't like the show. Because as of what I'm seeing right now, it's just misinterpretations of the show or overreactions. So if you genuinely do not like the show, please comment down below so I can hear your side of the story. Now I'm going to talk about the show itself rather than the stigma surrounding it. Season 2 was wild. Prepare for any spoilers if you have not seen Season 2. But, yeah. So, this time there was the Polaroids instead. That was crazy. And then there was also the court case going on at the same time, which I blew my mind because we learn a lot about Hannah. Yes, Hannah, we learned from season 2, has made a lot of mistakes in her tapes. I'll start with what I think is one of the biggest ones. She was with Zach after the events she spoke about in the tapes. So, they had a problem. He did something wrong. Then, they moved past it, got together, were together, broke up. And maybe that breakup, the reason they broke up, could have been one of her reasons, but instead she decided to jump back to before that and give a reason they moved past as one of her reasons for killing herself. That doesn't make any sense, because they were past that situation and it was no longer affecting her. So she was happy with Zach. Maybe after they broke up she was upset, but she was happy with him in that situation. So why would she go back to something he did before rather than just saying that, well, we didn't stay together because you didn't want me to be around your friends? She could have said that, but instead she went back to something he did that they moved past already. There's that. Then with Justin, after he spread that picture of her around, they still talked, they still texted and all that, and she still liked him. Yet, when she made the tapes, she spoke about him spreading the picture around, even though they were past that. Now, what I think is, not necessarily, Hannah's not lying. Yes, her words are twisted, but she's not twisting her words. What happened is, her mental illness is so bad that her mind is making her focus in on these negative things, forget about all the good, and all she's seeing is the negative. So, if she's trying to think about all the reasons she hates life, she wants to die, these are the major events that come to her mind because of her mental illness. Because your mind goes back to things that once hurt you. And she's not purposely trying to hurt these people or remind them of these bad things they did. She genuinely believes that these are the things that are currently affecting her because her chemical imbalances in her brain are making her think that. And I think that is where the show was going with that whole idea. Another thing I want to talk about is Clay. I'm very mad about his character, season 2. Because, first of all, the girl he supposedly loved just died. Now he's with someone else who also has mental problems, and he's putting himself through that again when that's just toxic and he shouldn't be in that in the first place. And, just no. Second of all, he thinks that he's the only person who could love Hannah. He's the center of it. Hannah's lover. Not that they were lovers, but he loved her and she loved him and whatever. Just because he was the last person she had feelings for. The last person before she died. That doesn't make him the only one. And I think that's such a huge character flaw in Clay, because he goes there at her funeral. He speaks for Hannah. He speaks to her. I love you, but I let you go, is what he says. But that's so messed up. Zach had to sit there and watch him speaking like that, saying all his love for Hannah, and Zach wasn't given a chance to say anything. But Zach had a real relationship with Hannah. He, I'm sure, loved her, and he didn't get to say anything because the tapes paint him like a bad guy and Clay like the good guy who just made a mistake. Like Hannah says, Clay is the one person who shouldn't really be on these tapes, but she needed to put him there to complete the story. So that's my main thoughts right now. Another thing that's been blowing my mind is people commenting or posting about how Justin is like just like a flawed character flaw, but like he deserves better and blah blah and all this stuff. That blows my mind because he got clean from drugs. Like, I understand when he first got there, he was in this bad place, and yeah, maybe he just needed to be helped. But he got clean, he was sober, and then he went back to the drugs. That's where it's less of a character flaw, but he's still a good person, and more of a he's just messed up. Because he got sober, he was no longer addicted, he just wanted it at that point. He was finally out of jail, getting adopted, steadying his life out, and he went back to drugs. And I just think that's so crazy. And another thing, Jessica, I cannot believe that she would hurt Alex like that and get with Justin again. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. That just has my mind blown. Okay, another thing that has me shook is the whole situation with Tyler. Like, yes, he was bullied and he was living a bad life and blah blah blah. And they did some horrific stuff to him. But everybody's posting about how, oh, my poor baby Tyler, blah 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 blah, like feeling so bad for his character. He was about to shoot up a school. I completely disagree with Clay's actions in that situation. He should have gotten arrested and gotten into a mental hospital. It's not a matter of what he deserved. It's a matter of he doesn't get what he wants, what he needs, what he deserves when he's doing such horrible, horrible things. And obviously, it wasn't a mental, like, split decision to, oh, they did this to me today, I'm gonna shoot up the school. He obviously got those guns for a reason. And he prepared and he went to go shoot up the school. And that doesn't warrant him pity. Yeah, I would have felt bad for him before he went to shoot up the school, when he's suffering and these people are doing such horrible things to him. But the second it switched from him suffering to him taking it out on other people is when he should have stopped getting pity and have been sent to jail, a mental hospital, something. Because obviously that program he went to did not help him. But I don't know. There's a lot I could talk about for the show, but this is such a long video, I feel like. So I'm going to stop. But if you guys have any opinions about the show you want to talk about, down below. If you have any questions for me on my opinions, comment down below. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Happy VEDIM, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.